groundbreaking new product, Advanced Alkaloids. If you're seeking natural relief from everyday stress, temporary pain relief, increased energy, focus, and motivation, we have your bases covered. Visit any of our participating Kansas City area American Shaman stores today to chat with a certified consultant and try plant-based Advanced Alkaloids completely risk-free. That's right, exclusively for 810 listeners, your first alkaloid experience is on us. Discover the power beyond our award-winning CBD and pick up a free trial of the most potent and popular alkaloids on the market. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
Limited 1 per customer. A $9.99 retail value, no cash value. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Must be 21 or older with valid ID to purchase.
Firework Mania Superstore is now open with a huge selection at the best prices. 3 miles south of Olathe on Highway 169. They have the coolest thing you'll ever see, Pyro Scan. Just scan the barcode and watch the fireworks before you buy them. Check them out online at firework-mania.com. The Firework Mania Superstore is the nicest fireworks store you've ever seen. Located just 3 miles south of Olathe on Highway 169.
Do you want to transform your backyard into a luxurious oasis? ProBuilt Pool and Patio is your one-stop shop for everything you need to create the perfect outdoor space. ProBuilt Pool and Patio offers a wide selection of fiberglass swimming pools, chemicals, outdoor furniture, hot tubs, and swim spas by Garden Leisure, as well as a variety of grills from top brands like Blaze, Bull, and Napoleon. And ProBuilt Pool and Patio now offers cold plunges. ProBuilt Pool and Patio, your one-stop shop for everything you need to create the perfect outdoor space. ProBuiltPatio.com.
Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. Jay running the show back for us at Sports Radio 810 WHB. Todd Surprise running the show for us here at RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. My partner, Kirk Elliott. Kirk, big weekend of high-limit racing this week.
Started off last night down at Lucas Oil Speedway, and Tyler Courtney's Sunshine coming up with the big victory last night. And you and I were both down at Lake Ozark Speedway on Wednesday night. Great show down there with Corey Day coming from 15th to the win there. Last night I thought maybe he might have another victory, but some mechanical issues stopped the 14 from making it to victory lane last night. Tyler Courtney was the big winner.
Did we ever hear what happened to his car?
I never heard. What happened?
Never
Just
heard.
broke.
Yeah.
Then they all of a sudden slowed down.
It appeared to me that they might have had a motor problem. Is that?
Yeah.
That's what.
Whatever it was,
Yeah.
they pushed it into the work area, and then they quickly figured out that he wasn't going to be able to continue on, and out he went. So yeah, and that followed the rear end problem that he had in qualifying on Wednesday night. And have you ever seen anybody rally back from not even posting a qualifying lap and still win the A-Main in that caliber of competition down there? But Corey Day did that.
At Lake Ozark Speedway.
At Lake Ozark, yeah.
You know, he passed 3 for 1. Did you see that, Kirk?
That was an incredible move.
That was
an incredible
move.
You were sitting on the back straightaway. You had a pretty good eyeball on that one.
That was on the restart as well.
Yeah, it was. Past Cole Macedo and Tyler Courtney got the lead right on
I
and
think Casey Kane was one of them.
Or Casey Kane,
yeah.
So Justin Peck was the other driver that I was thinking about. He passed Cole Macedo and Justin Peck. And then Casey Kane? Three cars he passed all in one swell move.
Right.
So big win for Corey Day on Wednesday night. Big win for Tyler Courtney last night. We'll see what happens tonight. More money on the line at Lucas Oil Speedway this evening, and so we'll see what happens down there. But, Scott, all of that pales in comparison to the very sad news, tragic news out of Jacksonville Speedway in Illinois last night. Terrible incident, and this just brings back your worst fears, especially the safety of people that are not race car drivers. And we had a fatality.
Fans in the grandstands.
Well, it was a 65-year-old gentleman standing in the infield last night, and a 410 wing sprint car got out of control. They say an equipment malfunction of some sort got into the pits, and unfortunately, tragically, 65-year-old man, we don't have the name of yet, tragically killed, and another one, at least one more person seriously injured, maybe more than that. We don't know, but Scott, this is your worst fears about going to the races and
not coming home.
You know, you're in the infield. You think you're in a safe area down there, and I'm not exactly sure how it happened or what happened there, but very tragic news that we don't want to have to report here this morning out of Jacksonville, Illinois.
Yeah, I just know when I first started working with Racing Boys, we were in Eagle, Nebraska.
Right.
And then we did another race. But I was on the infield. My job the first week was to follow Scotty Cook with a handheld camera, and I was getting video. It wasn't a live shot, but we were just
Were you a little nervous?
Well, Scotty Cook, I only met Scotty 2 other times. This is the first time we'd worked with each other. He pulled me into he said, "Have you ever been on the infield of a sprint car race?" And I said,
got to keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, at Lakeside once, but never. And he said, "Let me tell you what I want you to do. You never turn your back on any of the cars. If they get spread out or they're all the way around," he goes, "I want your back against my back while I'm here pit reporting. And you don't leave me until you figured out how this thing kind of works." And he goes, "I definitely want you staying on the golf cart until the end of the night. That way you know what's going on." He goes, "I don't want to have to worry about you." You know, because I'd never been on the infield.
Getting run over.
Yeah, on the infield of a sprint car race. It's a whole different game. When you're in the pits, Kirk knows too. Me and Kirk drove around in the golf cart many times, and those in the pits and out in the work area, those cars, they're not. You can't hear them. They're being pushed. They don't have the brakes like you think.
You've got to keep your head on a swivel at all times.
That's what I just remember to this day. I've been with you guys 12 years now, and I still remember what Scotty Cook said. Never turn your back on the cars, and never, never, never think that this race is over until you hear all cars are off. That's what he's, you know.
When you think about these photographers that stand close to the racetrack shooting pictures, we remember an incident up at I-80 Speedway several years ago where a sprint car went flying over the top of Joe Orth, our good photographer friend from the Omaha-Lincoln area, and he was still shooting pictures of it going over his head.
He got every picture of it.
Yeah, so we've seen...
And there was a family there also. Yeah. Did you notice the family that they took cover as well?
Yeah.
John Lee was hurt as well.
That's right. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking the same thing about John Lee was hit, one of the great photographers here in this area, and...
unfortunately lost half his foot.
Yeah, and is still suffering from that today. So it just points out the dangers of going to the racetrack, and even walking through the pit area can be a dangerous thing. So it's probably amazing we don't see more incidents. There was an incident at Lake Ozark Speedway the other night, Scott, involving one of the crewmen for Brent Marks. They call him Thud. His name is Dennis Christ. Suffered a compound fracture of his leg after Marks had a tire go down. They were pushing him back, where the
entrance
is.
Did he get run over?
And I'm not exactly sure how the incident happened, but Dennis Christ was hit and had a compound fracture of his leg. Fortunately, they were able to do surgery on the leg. He was at the racetrack at Lucas Oil Speedway last night. But,
yeah. He was sitting up in the grandstands.
Yeah. So
up in a suite.
That just points out we've had a couple of incidents, unfortunately, one fatal last night at Jacksonville Speedway in Illinois, and they obviously canceled the races after that incident occurred. But, there's always going to be some big changes after an incident like that, Scott. They're going to double down on making sure people who are walking around the pits and in the infield are in a safe position now.
Right.
So in the aftermath of this, we'll now see what further changes is going to be made to keep people more safe when they're in the infield or even in the ground. We've seen incidents where parts and pieces fly off race cars and hit people in the grandstands over the years.
Yeah, I was at Eagle at one of the races, and a bearing. I've still got it on my house. I use it as a paperweight. It's a bearing out of one of the, I believe.
I remember that happening.
And it flew into the crowd and hit the guys. Luckily, it had clipped a light pole, but it bounced up and hit a guy in the leg, and they were treating him. He wasn't hurt badly, but I picked that thing up, and it was hot. I mean, extremely hot, and it was shattered. And like I said, it's a bearing with I'm sure it was a wheel bearing, but yeah, that was 20 yards up there on turn number, the one where they go into the pits.
And that could have killed somebody.
Oh, it weighs a good 3.5 pounds. I mean,
right.
it's a heavy piece of metal. And like you said, you guys just don't be so nonchalant at these racetracks, guys.
You got to take it serious
all the time.
Right.
Todd, you've been reading all the articles on there. Is there any confirmed report of how many other people may have been injured in this incident? We don't really know.
The first report I read was one fatality and one critical injured, and then the report this morning I read from one of the news stations said that there were a few other injuries as well. So I do know, we know of one fatality, one person who was injured badly, and then they had a few others as well. So it could be up to 3 other people injured, in this thing. And so we don't know what happened to the car. Some reports are saying a malfunction of a piece of equipment.
Right.
But that would explain why it maybe caught some people off guard. Maybe there was something that happened on
right.
something, and it veered off. And that,
sprint cars can, at the speed that they're going, things can happen in a hurry.
Listen, to be honest with you, sprint car racing is the most serious form of all kinds of racing. Would you agree with me, Kurt?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only
no question about it.
Motorcycle racing.
There's a lot of people that have passed away over the years because of sprint cars.
Yeah. Cafe motorcycle racing, sprint car racing, and those crazy where those guys hang on that second cart and ride around. Those are the craziest racing I've ever seen.
Well, driver safety has come a long way over
Absolutely.
the years. That part of it, but safety of spectators, crew people,
right?
That's what makes it tragic. The drivers know the dangers they're getting into, and they strap in these race cars. But if you're even walking through the pits, on the engine heat up, I was thinking about this the other night.
You got to pay attention to what's going on at sprint car races.
I was thinking about this the other night as I was walking through the pits while they were doing engine heat, where they push off the race cars and get heat in the engines, and cars are coming around in the pit area. That's especially a dangerous time to be walking around in the pit area when they're pushing off the cars before hot laps to get the engine heat in the cars, because those cars are coming through the pit roads and everywhere. So, boy, you really got to be watching what you're doing. And I'm not saying that this gentleman could have done anything different. We don't exactly know what the details of this incident were. But just standing in the infield, and Jacksonville Speedway is not a big half-mile racetrack. It's a fairly small racetrack. The infield probably not that big.
Right.
So unless you're standing directly in the middle of the infield, you got to be watching where you're at when you're in the infield, especially
attention.
Some of these smaller racetracks.
You always have to pay attention. And Kirk, I think maybe some of the biggest news that we've got this week is the passing of Bud Honeycutt.
Hall of Famer Bud Honeycutt, one of our dear friends. Unfortunately, he lost his dear wife, Keat, earlier this year. And Bud was a inaugural member of the Central Auto Racing Boosters Hall of Fame. He went in with first class in 2004. Bud Honeycutt was an historian, a storyteller. Also, he was a great racer back in the day. I don't remember watching Bud race because I'm too young, but my biggest memory of Bud Honeycutt is hearing him tell the stories of the great racers of days gone by. He wrote a book called Up on the Wheel, and he sold a lot of copies of that book. It's a great coffee table book.
We've got it somewhere around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on display at our old studio in the green room, and people that would come in would read that book. I read it a couple times, and Bud,
and he was
just
one of the
awesome.
great interviews we've ever had because he would sit and tell stories all day long about the great racers of the past. Great source of information for the Central Auto Racing Boosters Hall of Fame and Kansas City racing history. He was one of the great ones. Was sad that he is gone now. They set up funeral services for Monday, July 15th.
When did he pass, Kirk?
This would have been on Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah. So,
Oh, Bud.
we've lost a great one. 91 years of age. Lived a
91
great
years
life.
old.
Yep.
Yeah, visitation will be
Lived a full life.
for
Man, he got everything out of it, didn't he?
If
Yeah.
you notice on the photo, it says, "I have finished the race." That he posted here. We've got a photo that we put up here, and let me tell you, Bud and his wife both, they always welcome me with open arms. You know, I'm not a regular every week at Lakeside and stuff, but whenever I was in that main studio, in that main suite, I'd look over and walk into that room and sit and talk to them too for a little bit before the night started, and it was always a
Bud
good,
was always entertaining.
just
Yeah.
and, you know, couldn't be more nicer
Right.
than anybody that out there. Just a nice guy. So
visitation Monday, July 15th from 9 to 10 at the Floral Hills Funeral Home
Where is that at,
and
Kirk?
Cemetery, 7000 Blue Ridge Boulevard in Kansas City. Memorial service will occur following that, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Also at the Floral Hills Funeral Home. Graveside service will occur after that. So
There's
yeah,
going to be a large turnout of people at that funeral.
absolutely.
no question
Guarantee
about
it.
it. Walter Lee Bud Honeycutt, sadly gone at the age of 91. He will be missed.
Lost a lot of people at the old Lakeside the last few weeks and last few months. You know, we've
Man.
lost a few of them now. So
We've lost more people
yeah.
recently, and I know Kirk's brother is one of them.
Yeah.
And then we lost. I mean, it's just
Thanks for all your thoughts and prayers over the loss of my oldest brother, Craig, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, been a sad time. We've lost a lot of great people in 2024, unfortunately. Still mourning the loss of our good buddy, the Merman, Lloyd Collins, with Bob Reber. I'm gonna leave some people out here, but man, we've lost a lot of great people here
Yep, no
in
doubt.
the last few weeks. Also, we're thinking about the great Hall of Famer John Force after that terrible accident at Virginia last weekend in the funny car where the engine exploded at the finish line,
Todd.
hit the wall at 300 miles an hour with no parachute, and John Force transported to a hospital in the ICU unit. And Todd, I guess we found out he's been moved out of one section of the ICU unit into another. He's improving, but he's got a long road to recovery.
Yeah, it. Like you said, just all our thoughts are with the Force family.
Your wife is a nurse practitioner, right?
Yeah, and she's worked for
been
30
she's been
some
there.
plus years,
Yeah.
and from the report, the good news and bad news on from what I could gather from what my wife said is he was in the ICU trying to be stabilized everywhere, body, mind, head, everything. Now it looks like everything is stable as far as his body. They've moved him to the section where they're working on his head. You have doctors round the clock. It's because they even said
That
in the
was
thing,
a massive
massive hit. And like you said, we don't know anything, but what we do know is he was talking. He set up on the stretcher. He talked to his daughter all the way to the hospital. What I believe, like you said, is happening is he's being monitored now for, trying to keep his brain and head, because when you take a shot like that, it's really rough on a guy.
Right.
And at that age,
definitely at that age.
75 years
yeah,
old.
like you said, your brain. We've been hearing so much about concussions, guys, in the last 5 years with all the football players and the CTE and everything that's going on. We know John Force has had some serious wrecks already in the past. He's had a lot of big time hits. This may be the hit that takes John Force away from driving. I'm afraid, but
I think so.
Well, it was just a couple of weeks ago.
He talked
after
about
he'd
it.
won a race, he talked about stepping out of the car, that it was pretty imminent that he was going to be stepping out of the race car fairly soon, and that Austin Prock was going to take his place, especially after Robert Height is able to come back and drive his own car that Austin Prock is driving now. So it was just a couple of weeks ago that John said, we're getting near the end of this thing, and we're going to step out. He was very competitive, but challenging for the points championship.
John Force is maybe the most competitive driver that I've ever seen in funny car racing.
16-time funny car champion in HRA.
How about that?
Incredible.
he's just so full of energy all the time,
and we've been blessed to have him in our studio
at least 3 times.
Right.
3 different, 2 times at the old studio, once at
we need to get him in the new studio.
Yeah, well, unfortunate. And we even had his daughter, Brittany. She came in when she was running the show. So, like you said, John Force was always kind to the racing boys, and he has a special place for Kansas City in his heart. He talked about KCIR all the time, how he loved KCIR and
the Harmon family.
So,
Has there been a more fan-friendly driver of any type of motorsports in John Force?
No way.
Absolutely not. Hey, this guy we interviewed him. He saw me. Me and Kirk go out there to watch the races when it was at Heartland Park. John Force sees me. They're warming up his car. He sees me over there. I wave to him, and he says, "Hold on a second. Just wait a second." He's putting on his stuff, and he comes over and he goes, "Did you want to talk?" And I was like, "No, I was just coming to say hi, John." And and like I said, the guy, he sees a million faces a day, guys, and
he remembers.
And he still can remember people. So, like you said, he's full of energy. Nothing but well wishes for the whole family.
At this point, I don't know if he'll ever get back behind the wheel of a funny car. It doesn't seem so at this point. We just want him to get well and back at the racetrack.
Absolutely.
That's what we're all praying for right now.
And Justin Prock, get in that car.
Yeah. So, thinking about him, Brittany Force is not going to compete this weekend. 2-time top fuel champion. She's going to be with her father this weekend. A little bit concerned when we heard that news, but because she's a title contender in the top fuel ranks, but she wanted to be with her dad. The reports are he's improving, but he's got a long road ahead.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, feature the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. And when we come back, we did a interview with Parker Price Miller on Monday on Mostly Motorsports. Again, you can listen to Mostly Motorsports every Monday from noon to 2 o'clock. Every Monday from noon to 2 o'clock. All right, we're going to come back with more right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products.
Got 3 minutes, gentlemen. 3 minutes.
10-4.
Off-road, Rod End Supply is an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
If you're looking for a great deal on a new car, look no further than Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC. For a limited time, get up to $13,000 off a new GMC Sierra 1500 or up to $8,000 off a new Buick Envision or Enclave. And with nearly 300 vehicles on the lot, finding your perfect ride has never been easier. Come see why Brogdon is the #1 GM dealer in the Kansas City area. Visit him at I-35 in Santa Fe or shop online at robertbrogdon.com. Valid on select models, includes all available incentives and rebates.
Icon is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 55 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Volunteers must be available for 1 stay of 10 nights and 1 follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $6,600 for study-related time. Call Icon today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
Feel the greatness of the CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024 at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri on July 1st. USA versus Uruguay. 2 teams, millions of fans, feeling the excitement in one place. Buy your tickets now at copaamerica.com/tickets. That's copaamerica.com/tickets.
Join Greenlight Dispensary all month long for the drops at Greenlight Dispensary. Weekly promos on Mondays and Fridays with deep discounts on flower, edibles, and vapes from local vendors. Greenlight Dispensary is your #1 trusted source for all cannabis products. Visit them at State Line, Bannister Road, Independence, or Harrisonville. Or check out their AI bud tenders online at greenlightdispensary.com and learn more about their next drop at greenlightdispensary.com. That's greenlightdispensary.com.
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Folks, it's unbelievable what the Ram brand just announced. An additional $5,000 rebate on all new Ram trucks. We're selling loaded 1500s up to $19,000 off, and Ram heavy duties up to $19,500 off. All 68 of my in-stock Rams qualify. And remember, at Victory, no hidden fees. This deal absolutely ends on July 1st. Do not miss a chance to buy a truck at prices not seen in over 5 years. Visit us at VictoryMotorsKC.com. That's VictoryMotorsKC.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Summer's coming, and I'll bet you
30 seconds.
Way to have fun, haven't you? How about something to do that's safe, affordable, easy, and a total blast to ride? Well, the people at Reno's Power Sports at 136th and Holmes in South Kansas City have just the ticket. They're the home of the uber-cool three-wheel Spiders and Rikers from Can-Am. You don't know how to ride a motorcycle? No problem. Come in, fall in love, and ride it home. Come check it out at Reno'sPowersportsKC.com, 136th and Holmes in South Kansas City. Reno'sPowersportsKC.com.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kirk, we had a chance to talk to Parker Price Miller.
Yeah, well, I mean, what a great kid. He's a cancer survivor. He's gone through a lot of hard times, got seriously injured in the Knoxville Nationals a couple of years ago and had to sit out of the car. Just a great kid and very competitive race car driver. They call him the law firm, Parker Price Miller. We had a chance to visit with him. Regular on the high limit racing. You'll see him at Lucas Oil Speedway tonight. And here is that conversation we had with Parker Price Miller from Mostly Motorsports earlier this week.
Let me just tell you this. You've been one of the fastest race cars on the track as of late. I can't believe how much speed you have in your car right now.
Yeah, we've been pretty good. We kind of started out the year struggling a little bit and made some changes and have obviously went in the right direction, and it's showing here as of lately. Just got to get more consistent. We've had quite a few podiums and a lot of top 10s, top 5s, but we seem to have, a 16th or a 17th place run here and there. So just kind of got to try and knock those out of the way and just kind of stay in the top 10 every night. And, the wins will come.
You ran third at I-70 Speedway. You ran behind Rico Abreu and Anthony Macri. Those are two pretty good guys to run behind, right?
Yeah, I actually think we had a shot to win at I-70. We were actually catching Rico in lap traffic, and then we had a caution with 4 to go, I think it was, and we were within, a few car lengths of him. And then once we got in open traffic and we had the open red, I feel like my tires were just kind of gone, and Anthony got by us there with the last 2 laps. So really should have ran second, possibly a win. So that kind of sucked. We were a little frustrated with that third place run, but yeah, still, 2 guys that are, very good that, you're not going to be mad about getting beat by those guys. It's not like you're getting beat by, a no one.
You put a lot of pressure on Rico during that race. Talk about that race a little bit back there at I-70 Speedway.
Yeah, so the first night we struggled. It was one of our inconsistent nights, and I felt like our car was good early in the night. We just kind of made the wrong changes later in the night, and we decided, we're not going to change much the next night, and it showed. We got, qualified well, made the dash, and my dash drawing skills are not very good. So we had to start back of the dash, and I was a little frustrated with that. But right from the get-go, we picked 2 cars off, and on restarts, our car was just really, really good, and we're able to get by guys on those first 2 laps where your momentum wasn't really built yet. So we were very, very good. Our car was very good, and we were running Rico down, like I said earlier, and was really looking forward to getting the lap traffic, and that just didn't happen. And it was going to be hard to get by Rico either way, but would have liked to had the chance, and I feel like that kind of got taken away from us.
Hey, Parker, this Kirk, you've been good on some different types of racetracks. You had a good run, third place at Lawrenceburg here a while back. So the variety of different racetracks you've been good on at times, but it's just the consistency you need to work on, right?
Yeah. Like we ran third at Lawrenceburg, third at Ozark, second at Knoxville. So, yeah, different types of dirt, different types of style tracks. But I would say our biggest fault right now is, little bull rings that, have some roughness to them or, some character to them. And we just can't really get a handle on that right now. And what sucks is like that used to be like kind of my wheelhouse when I was younger or, just even a few years ago. I just felt like I really excelled on those type of tracks. So frustrating that is kind of hindering us right now. But our half mile and slick track stuff has been really good. So, it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other, but, you want to be good on all kinds of tracks, but usually the big paying races and the bigger races are usually on slick half mile racetracks. So it's good knowing that we've been better on that type of stuff, but still want to figure out these small little bull rings with races like, Lake Ozark's coming up and Lucas Oil, where tighter racetracks and usually have some juice to them. So we'll keep trying, and hopefully our program gets better in the right direction.
Are you bringing out a new race car this week? You're working on it right now, right?
Yeah, we are. It's been ran before, but we rebuilt it and stuff. But we had been running the same car for a while, and we ran well with that car at Knoxville. So we wanted to tear it apart and get it ready for nationals, and just save that one because we were really, really good with it. So we brought out a different one for this weekend, and we'll just run this one and hopefully up until 410 Nationals and then pull out our other one.
Hey, you've got really good speed in your car right now. I think that win is right around the corner for you.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone's been telling me that, which makes me feel good, because I don't know if most people know, but I'm pretty much doing it myself with another kid that's he's very, very new. He's from New Zealand, and we made the changes. We're like, hey, we're just going to do it on our own. We might not know everything. We might not know enough, but one thing we're going to do is we're going to learn, and we're just going to keep doing it. And luckily with what we've been doing, it seems like it's working, and we've definitely learned a lot too. We've learned a lot of things not to do, and we've learned a little bit what to do. So I feel like that notebook will just keep getting deeper and deeper, and our car will just keep getting faster and faster.
How does it feel to be your own crew chief, calling all the shots? How's that going for you?
It's good and bad. It's really cool when you run good and you have guys like Ricky Warner and Barry Jackson and very well-known crew chiefs come up and tell you, hey man, you guys are really good right now. Your car looks really good. And then there's nights when you do really bad and you're not too sure, what your car is doing and how you're feeling, and you can't hit your own ass with your own hands. So those nights suck. But I feel like me as a driver that I like knowing what's going on and what this change is going to do to my car. And I've always been pretty involved with my race cars. So for me, I think it's a big factor for me to be involved in it, whether, because some guys just kind of show up and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just kind of always been a guy that wants to know what's going on in my race car. And I feel like I understand it more. So that's just how I've always been.
Parker, you've survived a lot of challenges in your life, a cancer survivor. You had that bad wreck at the Knoxville Nationals a couple of years ago. You had to sit out of the race car for a while, a bad night at the racetrack versus all of these big things that you've survived and overcome. Put that in perspective a little bit and how that's made you a different driver and even a better competitor.
So before I had the whole cancer situation, I feel like all I was wanting to do was, go to the racetrack, and I want to, I want to try and win. And, I was just constantly looking at race after race after race instead of kind of sitting back and enjoying the journey or enjoying, going hang out with my friends more or, just the little things. And then obviously, went through that year and a half of, fighting cancer, and it changed me as like a whole person, as in, there's way more to life than racing. Obviously, I love nothing more than, driving a race car and working on a race car. That's what, feeds my adrenaline and what I love to do. But there's also a lot more in life that I feel like I took for granted before. So I feel like now I appreciate it way more, and that I realize that, it can be taken from you any given day. And then, even a more realization whenever I had my crash where I was, millimeters away from, never being able to walk again when I broke my neck and back. So, that the timing of it all sucked because, I had just finished chemo, and obviously I was very, very weak. And a lot of people don't know, but I raced, all summer sick. I was very, very ill, skin and bones. I would race and I'd go up in front of the truck and, get sick just because I just wasn't myself at all. But I wanted to race, and I wanted to race for points. And so I just fought through it. But I finally started feeling better and felt like I was getting to 100%. And, our results were showing we were only like 30 points out of the All-Star lead behind Tyler Courtney. I'd won a few races, and then I broke my neck and back. So I didn't get to finish the year and, got set farther back. And, just felt like, man, like, what did I do wrong in life to have such setback that, I feel like I was doing everything right. And, I finally beat cancer, and I'm getting healthy. And then
right. Then all that happens. Right.
Yeah. So there for a while, I was like, is this really what I want to do? And I remember sitting in the hospital and, all through the cancer treatments and the diagnosis and stuff, I never broke down. I never, showed emotion. I always stayed strong in front of my parents. And then finally I was like, I just got to let loose. I told her, told my mom, I was like, man, I just got to cry. And I finally just let it all go. And she was like, you don't want to do, if you don't want to do this anymore, you don't have to. I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to get fixed. I'm going to race again. And that was in the Knoxville hospital probably 3 hours after. And then, it was obviously a long journey. And then, here we are now. Obviously it took a while, and, last year was kind of not a year that I'd like to have, but, I feel like this year is kind of getting back to where, I was before, and definitely getting more and more comfortable behind the wheel again.
There he is, Parker Price Miller from Monday's Mostly Motorsports show. He'd been running up front on a number of occasions. Last night, he had a little bit of a rough go of it. They had to pull the backup car out of the trailer last night after the heat race where he was pushed up into the wall. I'm not sure if Brian Brown was just, I think he was just trying to pull a slider on Parker Price Miller, but PPM didn't really appreciate that too much last night after he put in a lot of hard work on that race car.
Did he say anything to him?
He said something to Tony Laporta, the pit crew guy, and Tony said Parker had some comments about that I probably hadn't ought to share with you here. That's how he worded it. And that was it. He didn't talk to Parker Price Miller after that on the air,
Tony,
but he talked to him off the air, And he said what Parker said about that, I can't repeat here. So,
right.
So you can try to decipher.
PPM is such a good driver, man. It looked like he was going to win that race out there at I-70 Speedway. Didn't you think he was going to win?
He had a fast enough car to do it.
Yeah, I thought he did.
He did. He thought he was running Rico down.
And he ended up running 8th at Lake Ozark Speedway.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a fairly decent run.
He started 22nd, and he ended up running 8th.
Yeah, and that was a rebuilt race car. You remember when we talked to Parker on Monday, he was working on this race car.
Right.
Rebuilding it almost like a new car. And
Building
he was going to bring it out to Lake Ozark Speedway. Yeah. And so the second night out, he had to bring the old car back out again, started at the tail end of the field as a provisional. And, of course, when you're starting that far back, you're going to have trouble.
PPM is such a talented driver. Don't you think so?
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before he picks up the victory here. He's had a couple of top 3 finishes, one at Lawrenceburg and the other one at I-70. He's run up towards the front. It's so hard to win these races, but I got to believe before the end of the year he's going to pick up a victory somewhere.
I would agree with you on that.
Couple of other, we'll get into this in the next segment. We've got some sound from Wednesday night's first place and second place finisher, Corey Day and Justin Peck. We'll hear from those guys, but we got a lot of other races that happened last night that we're going to be talking about, including the ASCS down at Tulsa this weekend. Last night was the opening night.
Sam picked up the win. Yeah.
Sam Haferteeth, who bounced back from losing a race on the last lap at Batesville last Saturday night when Jordan Mallett pulled off a big pass on the final lap on Sam, who appeared to be running away with that race at Batesville last Saturday night. Scott, how shocked were you to see that?
I was pretty shocked to see that, Kirk, to be honest with you.
And we're going to hear from Jordan Mallett here later in the show, right?
Right. Jordan Mallett is going to join us here at 9:45. That's going to be hour number 2. So you can watch that exclusively on our Facebook page and our YouTube page, and as well as racingboys.com as well. All right. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, more of Track Talk right here. Brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll be back with more in a moment. Stay tuned.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. Get her done!
Rod.
3 minutes, gentlemen.
As well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Each season, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City and Sporting KC team up to recognize Blue KC Sporting Samaritans. This is a program that highlights students and teachers who make the Kansas City community a better place to live, work, and play. Please nominate these difference makers by going online to bluekc.com/nominate Sporting Samaritans. That's bluekc.com/nominate Sporting Samaritans.
Host the perfect summer cookout with great specials. Where else? Back at the Butcher Block at your neighborhood hen house. Let's start with some USDA Choice certified Hereford beef, the finest beef around. I'm talking Kansas City strip steaks, 10 ounces, just $8 each. Choose your own size, $12.79 a pound. How about 93% lean ground beef, ground fresh several times each day? That's $4.99 a pound. Or baby back pork ribs, sold in Cryovac, buy a couple, only $2.99 a pound. It's all at Hen House, serving Kansas City families since 1923.
Hey Kansas City, Vince Sanders here with CBD American Shaman. Over the years, you, the 810 listeners, have trusted us as your go-to source for top quality hemp-derived products. Now we're thrilled to introduce a groundbreaking new product, Advanced Alkaloids. If you're seeking natural relief from everyday stress, temporary pain relief, increased energy, focus, and motivation, we have your bases covered. Visit any of our participating Kansas City area American
1 minute.
Plant-based advanced alkaloids completely risk-free. That's right, exclusively for 810 listeners, your first alkaloid experience is on us. Discover the power beyond our award-winning CBD and pick up a free trial of the most potent and popular alkaloids on the market. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
Limit 1 per customer. A $9.99 retail value, no cash value. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Must be 21 or older with valid ID to purchase.
Hey, Kansas City. This is Ben Farha with Farha Roofing. Recent storms may have caused damage to your home or business. Farha Roofing's team of experts are readily available to give you an honest and fair assessment. The Farha team are professionals in the insurance process and will make replacing your roof a hassle-free experience. Make the safe choice and call Farha Roofing or visit us at farharoofing.com. Farha Roofing. We rise above the rest.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kirk, you got some sound that you want to run?
Yeah, before we get to that, you and I watched that race from Williams Grove Speedway last night. It's the opening night of Pennsylvania Sprint Week last night.
Danny Dietrich wins.
And Anthony Macri had a problem, didn't he?
I don't know what happened to Anthony Macri, to be honest with you. I think Anthony Macri got into the wall a little bit and tore up his race car.
He got up into that. The cushion there was some pretty
it was pretty
heavy
gnarly
stuff up in that cushion last night, and he got up into that and pirouetted the car around, hit the wall while in the lead of that race.
Right.
Danny Dietrich was able to assume the lead. That happened with less than 5 laps to go. So Dietrich went on to win over early leader Justin Whittle. Chase Dietz finished third. Dylan Cisney fourth. Devin Moran. Let's back it up. Danny Dietrich was the winner. Troy Wagaman was second. Justin Whittle third. Freddie Raymer fourth. And Chase Dietz rounded out the top 5. So tonight they're going to be at Lincoln Speedway, $25,000. Going to be racing every week at all these tracks out in PA. And so it'll be fun watching Pennsylvania's Sprint Week coming up, just getting started.
Yep.
Last night, Tyler Courtney wins the feature at Lucas Oil Speedway, opening night of the Diamond Classic for the high-limit racing cars. And here is Tyler Courtney after his victory last night in Victory Lane.
Really good. Concentrating drink at Let's Cup Trailer Spire Motorsports like I had tonight makes my job a lot easier. So thanks to Jake, Ron, Bobby. They bust their tails, and they don't get the glamorous side of this, working in the seat, every day and on the road. And it's just awesome. So to get a win, I think last time I ran here, I wanted a midget. So it's pretty cool to come back in a wing car and have success as well.
Yeah, exactly. Not getting a lot of laps and or at least not in a Wing 410 sprint car. Does that make it more hard when you come back to a place like this against competition like Brad Sweet, like James McFadden, like Cy Lynch?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I think you go to any sprint car race in the country right now and you're racing your tail off. It doesn't really matter who it is at the track. But yeah, when you're racing a 5-time outlaw champion like that, and Cy's been good here this year too. So, and his car was good where we kind of weren't. So, luckily I was third there, and Cy got to get Brad moving around, and I just stuck to my guns there, and just ran the top as hard as I could, and came away with the win.
Thank you to Flow Racing and Tony Laporta for that Victory Lane sound last night. Tyler Courtney, Sunshine, picking up a big victory last night down there. I thought maybe Cy Lynch might get it done last night. He had a fast race car.
That was his 9th win, by the way.
For Sunshine, yeah.
Yeah.
So, big night for him. We'll see what happens down there tonight. Earlier this week at Lake Ozark Speedway, Corey Day picked up the big victory at Lake Ozark Speedway, and he's had a heck of a last 2 weeks. Last night, he broke something on that race car. I think he would have won last night. Wednesday night, He made a 3-for-1 move off a restart, off that red flag stoppage.
Passed 3 cars to take the lead.
He did. But here's the big thing, and I don't think I've seen this at this level of racing, in sprint cars especially, for a driver not to post a qualifying lap because he had a rear end brake on him during qualifying, wasn't able to post a time trial lap, finished last in qualifying, and still come back and win the A main. I talked to Corey Day after his big win. Here is that conversation. Boy, I don't think I've seen anyone at this level of competition not post a qualifying lap and still come back and win the A main. How did you do it?
Man, just great race car. My job's easy when the race car's that good and, that easy to drive. So hats off Shane Bowers, my crew chief, and, Stephen, Keith, and Jordan for working hard to get that rear end change after qualifying. That's no easy task, and we were really successful at it. So big hats off to them, and, hats off to the track crew also. Don't matter how good you are, if racetrack's not racy, there's, no way you're passing that many cars. So, but it was tonight, so hats off to them.
It looked like a very tricky racetrack. How challenging was that?
Yeah, it was really tricky. 3 and 4, the shape of the curb was a little awkward. It was real straight in the center of the corner and easy to get tight on. And 1 and 2 was even more tricky. You were on the curb on entry, and then it pushed up over it off exit, so you had to run the grip and hop up over the middle of the corner and try and not upset your race car. So really tricky, but once again, easy to do with a great race car like that.
The Open Red, what did you do to the race car?
Man, I honestly don't know if Shane did anything. We talked about maybe a potential change, and I don't know if he did or not, but whether he did or didn't, it worked out.
Man, these last 3 weeks, Knoxville, Skagit Speedway last weekend. First of all, you're still celebrating that big win, $76,500. What was the key to win that race?
Man, just, been close to that one for a couple years. I love Skagit, got a lot of laps there, and, we got a great race car there. That event's just, all a point system, so you got to, qualify good and have a good heat race and, do everything right to succeed there. And, we finally just put it all together last week.
And able to keep the right rear up, right?
Yeah, that's right. Big thing there when it's on, on the fence, I try and get everything I can get, and, sometimes it bites me, but didn't on Saturday.
So here's what this 18-year-old driver has done. 2 weeks ago, he won that big race at Knoxville, that stellar field up there.
Won $76,000 up there at Skagit.
Outrunning Logan Schuart, holding off Donnie Schatz and Kyle Larson. The Skagit Speedway race, as you mentioned, $76,500. You had $20,000 the win on Wednesday night. That's almost $100,000 in just 2 races.
Right.
Boy, it doesn't get better than that. And last night, I'm not exactly sure what the mechanical failure was last night, but he had a fast enough car to win last night, too.
Kirk, I've been told that Rick Hendrick is trying to sign Corey Day.
Well, who wouldn't want to sign him right now?
Right.
He went down there and drove a pavement car for the first time at Hickory Motor Speedway and won.
I've got reliable sources on that as well.
Good. That's That doesn't surprise me at all that Rick Hendrick would want to get him in his camp. I would not be shocked at all to see that happen.
Young, talented drivers are really hard to find, Kirk.
Let's hear from the second-place finisher at Lake Ozark Speedway, Justin Peck.
My stuff was really, really good until that curb got treacherous there, and just couldn't get through the curb like Corey could. I mean, Corey could hit it pretty hard and didn't seem like his car, would get tight or waller and stuff. And I just couldn't hit it as hard as he could, so he could carry more speed once it got treacherous. But, that's part of it. You know what I mean? I didn't honestly – I expected it to build up more of like a cushion, and that was more kind of like ledgy and solid. So just kind of caught us off guard a little bit. We kind of – I thought if that race had been more of like a slick track race and not, been such a cowboy up deal, our car was going to be really good. I mean, I could get through the slick really well and just, just wasn't as good as Corey when the curb got big.
Lots of yellow flags in that Open Red. Did you do anything to the car in that Open Red?
No, we talked about it. I was really happy with the race car, and we tried not to, change the car too much by adding too much fuel and filling it completely all the way. So just tried to fill, just tried to put some fuel in it and go from there. I mean, I thought my car was really maneuverable, and at that point in the race, the ledge was just starting to kind of build up, and I was still, able to rip pretty well. And, just, tried to protect the slider on a restart and thought I did, and Cole slid me and, I got kind of pushed over the edge there and got up into marbles, and that allowed, Corey to get by us both. So just victim of circumstance there, and just racing hard. And, Corey was able to prevail on that. And then, we weren't able to challenge him after that, after any of those restarts. So just, like I said, I'm happy with our race car. We were solid all night long, and, fast from hot laps all the way through the end of the feature, and just was second best tonight.
Good run by Justin Peck. Has had a fast race car lately.
Did you think for a second there that Justin Peck had a chance to win that race?
No. Not once Corey Day got out in front. I thought that was it. Corey Day came from 15th to win that race.
Right.
And no, I didn't think he had a shot at it.
3 minutes, gentlemen, 3 minutes.
So, did you?
I did there for a second. I thought that Justin Peck had a chance to win that race.
Before Corey Day made his move, you might have thought that. I guess maybe I thought that too. But once Corey Day got out in front, no, I didn't think Justin Peck was going to run him down.
Spencer Baston was third. Carson Macedo was fourth. And Brad Sweet was fifth. Were you a little surprised at how Brad Sweet went backwards?
I was. I thought, with him starting on the front row, that he was probably the favorite to win that race. So, I was surprised that he fell back.
I said to the people that were sitting next to me, I said that Brad Sweet is going to win this thing.
I did, too. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I thought he would, but no, he went backwards. And Carson Macedo was there because he's World of Outlaw regular. But the race shop is just down the road from Lake Ozark Speedway.
Right.
So they took
2
one of
minutes,
their
gentlemen,
4
2 minutes.
races that they could participate in and chose Lake Ozark Speedway. Made sense.
Right.
So, hey, Mitchell Moles picks up a big win in non-wing sprint car racing.
Were you a little surprised by Kyle Larson's performance?
Well, he didn't really have as good a qualifying run as
He started
you need to have.
10th, and he ended up running 6th.
Yeah, I thought starting 10th, of course, Corey Day started 15th, so you'd think if Corey Day can come from 15th, why can't Kyle Larson make a run up through there? Yeah, I thought maybe Kyle would have a better finish last night. I thought he would make the podium. He did run better late in the race than he did earlier, so he finished off strong, but he was just too far back to make any kind of a run for the podium.
Rico had to go into the pits at one point during the race, and he ended up running 15th.
Rico's had a hard last couple of nights. Last night he had trouble.
Gentlemen,
So,
1 minute.
Also, I was going to say, Mitchell Moles, big win in non-wing sprint car racing at Macon Speedway last night. The USAC non-wing sprint cars, Justin Grant finish in second, and Brady Bacon in third place last night at Macon Speedway.
All right, hour number 2 coming up on. You can watch Track Talk. Hour number 2. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. It's on our website, racingboys.com as well. So you can watch it. Hour number 2. What do we got? We got Connor Wade and Chase Rodman coming up in hour number 2, don't we?
And we'll hear from we'll hear from Jordan Mallett live.
Jordan Mallett.
Later in the hour.
Yeah.
He's competing down with the ASCS National Tour at Tulsa Speedway this weekend.
Jordan Mallett is one of the nicest guys ever.
Yeah. Big win for him at Batesville Motor Speedway last Saturday night, so congratulations to him. Also, congratulations to Christian Eckes. He wins the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Nashville Super Speedway. That's where their NASCAR is at this weekend. Xfinity race today, Cup race tomorrow.
Clint Boyer's going to be running a truck tonight at
Last night.
He ran it last night.
How'd he do?
He got into a scrape with somebody earlier in the race. I think he finished about 15th or something
Started
like that.
11th, finished 15th, had a little issue on pit road once.
all right.
That's about it.
Okay, thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all been brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. For Jay back at Sports Radio 810, for Todd Surprise here at RBN, the Race Boys Broadcasting Network, for my partner Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying we'll see you hour number 2 on Facebook, YouTube, and racingboys.com.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're
Thank you. I will see you next week.
Rock and roll, brother. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Rod End's Radius Rods and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Firework Mania Superstore is now open with a huge selection.
The night, and then he had a little issue, but then he posted something on his social media saying, little incident on pit road costume is... Fuck, they wrecked on lap 2. Did they? Fuck. They hadn't even gotten up to speed and they were already crashing, man.
Variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Here at Specialty Sportswear in-house, we do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum, and our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, SprintCarStuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in the trailer park. Get her done.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Todd Surprise running the show as he usually does. Can't thank Todd enough for everything he does for us. Can't believe it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Hey,
Yeah,
yes,
Todd,
and I am wearing my Johnny Cash shirt. I had somebody in the comment section ask me if I was wearing a Johnny Cash shirt this
The
morning.
great
and,
Johnny Cash.
And yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Boy, I'll tell you what, there was not too many better than he was. Country music.
Original outlaw. Right
He was that. I walked the line.
He did walk the line. Lived
Folsom Prison Blues.
Sam says the new dirt at Lucas Oil Speedway
how about
is
that?
in a great improvement. It
Yeah.
held up great last night.
It did.
It
I thought
did.
they had a great racetrack
I thought
last
they did
night.
too.
Yeah, and we talked about this with Chase Rodman. We'll have that conversation here in just a little bit. The voice of High Limit Racing, that the new dirt that they put on at Lucas Oil Speedway was a big success for the Show Me 100 here several weeks ago, and I thought that would translate over to last night. So, yeah, the racetrack was in excellent condition last night. And while we're on the topic of Lucas Oil Speedway, they had modifieds there last night, the Heartland Modified Tour, and I thought that was some pretty good action last night with Tyler Davis beating Tad Davis and Gabe Hodges in that feature, and the announcing all the way around last night. Shane Freeby, who does the announcing for Lucas Oil Speedway, was working with Trenton Berry up there in the booth last night. Those guys did a great job, and you couple that with what Chase Rodman and Tony Laporta are doing. The announcing on that broadcast last night was spectacular.
It was excellent.
Great show.
Yep.
I had it up on my big screen watching that last night. Of course, I would have loved to have been there, but 2 hours and 15 minutes getting back on a Friday night and then getting up to do this show, I can't do it. And you were going to be there last night, but we had some equipment issues.
We had some equipment issues. The hotspot quit working.
Failed on you.
And it failed on me, and I wanted to be a part of the show today.
Well, we had a live interview, so it's kind of hard to.
We had you all set up to do your part of the show from the candlelight down there at Hermitage, and
right,
you were all ready to go. We guys. Oh, by the way, I was going to ask you. Normally we'd have our RV down there, and I see the truck is parked back here. We get the truck fixed?
No, it's not fixed.
Almost.
Not yet.
We know what's wrong with it.
Hey, Kirk, they're going to have to put a fuel pump in it.
Bad fuel pump.
That's another, what, $1,000?
$1,000 plus $1,000 to.
So we're talking $2,000 to fix that truck.
$2,000 to fix the
great.
truck. Yep.
Man, oh man.
But once it's done, everything that we've done on it, we've put new injectors on it, we've put new lines on it, we've put a pulley on it, and we're going to put a new fuel pump on it.
We thought it was done when you put new injectors on it last year.
You know, what's funny is, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this or not, Kirk, but remember when I went down and I picked up that little pony for Tristan? It ran all the way down there and all the way back.
Then when you tried to go to Knoxville a couple of weeks ago, it didn't let you go.
It didn't let me go.
No.
But just so you know, that little pony, my daughter had to put it to sleep.
Oh, no.
You didn't have to tell me that.
Yep.
No.
Had to put it to sleep.
I didn't need to know.
Oh, my God.
Yep. She spent $800 purchasing the horse, and she spent $1,000 on trying to get the horse well, and they finally had to put it down.
Oh, my God. That's devastating news.
Yep.
Hate to hear that.
Yep. A little mini pony is what it was.
Man. Hate hearing that.
Will's horse.
Of course, the big story this morning, in case you just joined us, we talked about it at the top of the show, was the terrible, tragic accident that occurred at Jacksonville Speedway in Illinois last night, where a 65-year-old man was hit in the infield by a 410 wing sprint car.
Lost his life.
Fatally lost his life, and other people have been injured in this incident. Of course, they called the races off right after that.
Todd, did you find any new news about?
No, I searched.
We don't
this
know the
morning.
names of
Nothing.
we don't know who the driver of the car was, or the just the man.
You
that
know,
fatally lost his life.
if you were
Yeah, it's
driving
terrible.
that sprint car
Gosh,
and
just
you hit somebody,
Terrible.
How can you live with that?
how
It's
could
just-
you live with that?
Yeah.
It's tough. Like you said, as a race car driver, you know what you're getting yourself into when you strap into a car, right? Even as a crew
Right.
chief or a member of the media or whatever, you kind of know. But
you
man,
never
it's,
you never knew if you were going to come back out of that race car or not.
yeah, it's
They
just,
said an equipment malfunction. We
Yes.
don't know all the details. We saw Scotty Cook had. I texted out to Scotty Cook here a little bit to ask him if he happened to be over there last night. So waiting to hear back from him. But he posted some things on his Facebook page about it, and of course everybody's putting their sympathies and well wishes out on social media right now. We see at Knoxville, Jacksonville Speedway has put up a post up there, prayers for the families of all involved at Jacksonville Speedway tonight. And of course other people are putting out their sympathies and condolences to the family of those, especially the man that was fatally injured in that accident last night at
Man, that's
Jacksonville
terrible.
Speedway.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I think the biggest news when it comes to the local racing scene is Bud Honeycutt passing away.
Yeah, the Hall of Famer Bud Honeycutt.
Kirk, can you tell everybody when the funeral's going to be again?
That is going to be on Monday, July 15th at the Floral Hills Funeral Home. That's down on Blue Ridge Boulevard, Kansas City, Missouri.
Got to go to that.
Visitation and funeral on Monday, July 15th. So mark that date on your calendar for those of you in the Kansas City area that would like to be there for that. Of course, we're all thinking about the Honeycutt family. Bud had just lost his dear wife, Keat, earlier this year.
Right.
And they were a great racing couple. And as far as Bud Honeycutt is concerned, he was the member of the inaugural Carb Hall of Fame class of 2004. He was one of the great historians and resources of racing information of Kansas City racing history of all
Wealth
time.
of knowledge.
Wrote a book called Up on the Wheel several years ago.
You sure that's the
and
name of the
book? It was a bestseller, and it was a great coffee table book, and it had a lot of great stories and pictures and photos of all the great racers of the day, and he knew everybody and could tell stories better than anybody in my lifetime. And Bud Honeycutt died at the age of 91 on Thursday. He will be missed.
Yep, no doubt. Bud was a great man.
Yes, he was. And, we're thinking about his family today and all the racing community here in the Kansas City area and the loss of a great one, Bud Honeycutt.
Yep, that's the name of it right there. We're looking at a little bit of the
Up on the Wheel.
There we go. You can buy it. Look at that.
He sold a lot of copies of that book.
That's somebody's wanting $200 for this copy here.
Yeah.
So, but we did have this. We have this somewhere here at our studio. It was in our.
I've got a copy of it at home too.
At our green room back at the other studio back at Sports Radio 810.
And we had him on
Old
our
Olympic
show.
Stadium right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
and here over the next, leading up to his services, we'll try to dig out an interview or two that we had at Bud from years gone by. I'm sure we can dig that up and
that'd be back when
replay an interview that we had of Bud, and we'll do that here over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I tried to pull through my archives. You guys must have had him on before I came in.
Yeah.
Because we had one interview. I do know I'd called him on the phone once, but I think that was had something to do with the Hall of Fame, and we talked to him that one time. But you guys, I remember a couple interviews you guys had done with him back when I used to listen to the show. So, and I think the other big news is, man, we got some serious flooding still going on, guys. Man, Huset's today, I don't know, I showed Scott a video of it. I'm going to try to pull it up here in a second. But some of this video that they were showing, it's finally dried out enough up there up at Huset's to where they're able to start to get out, but they're not able to they still haven't been able to pull out all the RVs and everything out of that place yet. So I do know
it was all underwater there for
2
weeks, almost 2 weeks.
And here locally, tomorrow Parkville, the landing in Parkville will be closed. Today it's still open for the farmers market and everything, but tomorrow.
Where is that, Todd? Right there.
That's Omaha. That's the Missouri River up in Omaha. So
look at that.
Yeah, it's we've got a lot.
Go back to that last picture, Todd.
I don't think we're going to have any issues with.
Look at that right there.
I don't think we're going to have any issues with our lakeside track. They acted like the crest of the storm flood is going to be about 20-some feet, and we should be fine. I mean, it's going to be up.
How far does it got to flood?
Well, anything over the 25 feet is when it starts to shut down everything. But Lakeside, you have to remember what happened when Lakeside flooded. They had some serious levee breaks. There's been a lot, and they had water. Me and Kirk talked about last week. They let a lot of water up there out when that happened. We had all those floods. Things are a little bit.
The dam is really what caused the biggest problem up there.
And so now what we're looking at, we're just looking at major flooding all the way from South Dakota to Iowa. It's I mean, really bad flooding. The Minnesota had some serious flooding issues. So, like you said, guys, turn around, don't drown is what they say. Don't drive through these high. I've seen some serious videos last week of people driving into this stuff. Do not drive into this stuff. You have no clue how fast this water can move you. So that's one thing that I'd like for people to know is don't try to drive into this flooding water. It's really not a safe situation.
And actually, I said 2 weeks. Actually, it's been a week that Houston Speedway had been underwater because a week ago, Friday morning, is when we first saw the entire facility flooded with those RVs out in the campgrounds. And of course, they had to call off the rest of the High Bank Nationals weekend. No word on when that will be rescheduled. And the World of Outlaws got rained out again last night. They were supposed to race up at Cedar Lake Speedway in New Richmond, Wisconsin last night, and they got rained out again. So the World of Outlaws have not had a race since a week ago last Wednesday, the first night of the High Bank Nationals, or the Houston's Hustle, they called it. And now the Outlaws will try to get in tonight's show. They say the weather looks a lot better up at Cedar Lake Speedway last night.
Look at that
they
water.
They got wiped out again last night, night one of the two-night weekend at Cedar Lake.
At Huset's right there. That's what it looked like when the majority.
When the water was all in there.
All of it.
Yeah.
But now all that's drained out,
yes.
And now they can go in and try to retrieve the RVs that were all damaged and flooded.
You see that? Did you see that airplane right there? Look at that thing.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that can come down like a helicopter and lift straight up. And
looks like a huge drone.
See it? That's
giant. A monster drone right there.
So they had some serious. We watched a little bit of video this morning. It's completely dry now, But the tracks, it's really, I mean, not dry. I'll take that back. All the water is now is gone.
Still muddy out
But
there.
it is so muddy. They're having issues still trying to get some of these RVs and stuff out of there. So, yeah, we've been dealing with it. Obviously, this is something we deal with every year. It seems like it's been happening more and more. But, man, a lot of water, guys. A lot of water. We got lucky here in the Kansas City metro last night. You know, there was some chances. We were talking about maybe getting up to 3 or 4 inches of rain last night. Lakeside got their race in. They were finished by 9:30, guys.
They got it over with quick.
When I was listening, I was editing some video and getting some stuff ready for the show this morning, and the audio, there was no more, you couldn't hear anything. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange. I wonder what's going on. And heck, I looked on, and they were already posting the results on their Facebook page last night. At 10 o'clock, there was already results up on their Facebook page.
Wow,
so
how about that?
Shadron Turner picking up another win, and I'm sure Kirk's got the whole the lineup there. They picked up the win.
Didn't have a whole lot of race cars last
No,
night.
they didn't.
12 B mods. The Joe Berry race was last night, but Shadron Turner picks up the win over Chad Clancy, Tim Carrick, Kerry Davis, and Jaden Weddingle finishing in the top 5. USRA stock cars, Rodney Schweitzer coming through with the victory, Zach Boyd in E-Mods, and John Snyder in Pure Stocks. Car counts are very concerning, Scott, of a lot of these weekly racetracks. Just about every weekly racetrack you see, the car counts are way down. They only had 9 Pure Stocks, 10 E-Mods, 12 B-Mods, and 10 stock cars at Lakeside Speedway last night.
It was the Joe Berry Memorial, too. That was something else I wanted to make sure people knew about, too.
Is anybody else concerned about Lakeside Speedway?
I'm concerned not just
Lakeside, it's
them, but
all
there's a lot of other racetracks that are having low car counts right now in the weekly racing. So,
you know, back in the day, Kirk, when me and you went to the races, we went. I used to go to Lakeside on Friday night. I used to go to Riverside on Saturday night. And when I-70 raced on Sundays, I'd go to I-70 on Sundays to watch them race.
Times are different now. The economy is different.
People don't spend the money they used to.
Well, there's so many more things.
There's more competition for your time and the entertainment dollar now than there was back in those days.
Think about it. There wasn't a Netflix. You couldn't just Netflix it when you were younger growing up, you know. I mean, you had three channels and you had to wait for the show to come on. So now people just, if you want to do something tonight and don't want to go out, they're sitting on the couch and watching. I mean,
and if you're a race fan, you can sit at home and watch a whole night of racing on your big TV screen from Lucas Oil Speedway.
Kirk, did we start something by doing live pay-per-view? Did we start doing something? Do you think that? Do you think people stay at home and watch the races on TV more than they do?
Some of them do.
Going to the races.
I think the
I was one of them last night, and the only reason I wanted to be at the racetrack last night, but 2 hours and 15 minutes from the studio here on a Friday night when I got to get up at 5:30 on a Saturday morning just didn't work for me. But I would rather been at the racetrack last night. But we're as guilty as anybody sitting at home watching races on live video on our big screens.
Yep.
So, but
I got these 4 TVs here. And I turn them all on to some sort of racing.
But I suggest tonight get to Wheatland, Missouri and Lucas Oil Speedway and watch it in person. If you've never been to Lucas Oil Speedway, this is a great facility. It's bigger than the race, the venue.
Diamond of dirt tracks.
The atmosphere tonight should be great. I thought they had a pretty decent crowd last night. It's going to be even more so tonight. I expect a huge crowd down there tonight if Mother Nature can cooperate. But I suggest you be at the racetrack tonight. We had a great time at Lake Ozark Speedway the other night, didn't we? They had a hell of a crowd.
They had a hell of a crowd down there. Yeah.
That was a great night down there. So enjoyed being down there
They had a pretty good crowd down there.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, Clint Boyer was down there as well.
You talked to him. I missed him. I didn't get to talk to him. So what do you have to say?
He came over to me, and when I waved at him, he came over and talked to me for about 10 minutes.
How about that?
Yeah.
Talking old times, huh?
He was just talking about going down to Nashville and running that truck race.
Well, he lives not too far from Lake Ozark Speedway, does he not? He's got a place down by the lake.
He does have a place down by the lake. Yeah.
So he came up there and enjoyed the night up there. I missed him. I didn't even know he was there till after I'd gotten back home. You said you saw Clint walking around. So, well, good for him.
He was hanging out with Kyle Larson, by the way.
And you. Hanging out with you, too.
Well, he hung out with me just for a few minutes.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of history from back in the day. Nashville Super Speedway is one that's where NASCAR is this weekend. That's one place that you guys got a lot of history at.
Well, he ran second in my ARCA car down there.
So was that...
He led 47 laps, lost the lead with 9 laps to go, lost to Mario Gosselin, and
yep.
Mario Gosselin had the superior car because the problem was at the time when we were racing down there is that we didn't put on tires when we come in and did our last pit stop.
I remember that.
Remember that?
Yep.
Because we were too slow to put on tires.
You think that's why Clint chose Nashville Super Speedway to drive that truck last night? Because Nashville Super Speedway, that race you're talking about, kind of gave him a lot of
attention,
a boost in his career, don't you think? That success that he had at Nashville that day.
3 weeks later, Richard Childress called him and signed him up.
Yeah, so he's probably got a lot of fond memories of Nashville Super Speedway just because of that. So last night, he gets in a truck, finishes 17th in that race. I thought he was 15th, but actually 17th last night. But he had that incident that might have had a better finish last night if he didn't have that issue last night.
Hey,
do it.
I got to go up and take care of something real quick.
I'll let you go ahead and do that. Todd, we got Chase Rodman lined up. Who do we got?
We can play Chase Rodman. Let me get this here closed out.
So we'll get him lined up. Chase Rodman
Yes,
is
sir.
the voice of the High Limit Racing Series. We spoke with him on Monday. Now, this is before the big night of racing at Lake Ozark Speedway on Wednesday and last night's opening night of the Diamond Classic at Lucas Oil Speedway. We get Chase on every week to kind of give us a recap of
Yes, sir.
everything High Limit Racing. They'd been off there for just a couple of weeks since the big race at Eagle. Before that, opening up for Knoxville and Houston's weekend, but they were back in business on Wednesday night for the midweek High Limit show at Lake Ozark Speedway. And here's our conversation with Chase Rodman from earlier this week.
Let's talk about the High Limit Series. I know you're going to the lake this weekend and you're going to Lucas Oil Speedway, but those are two quality racetracks. I'm telling you, have you ever been to Lucas Oil Speedway before?
Never been to Lucas Oil, but have been to Lake Ozark, and that's one of my favorite tracks. I think it races once the track prep is, once it's good, man. It's one of the best tracks, I think, as far as racing goes. It's the perfect size, 3/8 mile, 2 lanes of racing, nice and wide in the corners, and I love that area too. If I could choose 5 places to live someday, that would be one of them. I would want to live there in Lake Ozark. I love that area. But yeah, looking forward to Lake Ozark. We got a good field of cars. It looks like they're going to be there, and sounds like the same for Lucas Oil as well. And I'm very excited to get there because all I've heard are just super good things about the facility. And it's the Diamond of Dirt tracks. It's going to be the Diamond Classic this weekend is the name of the race, and so hopefully the fans come out and enjoy a 410 wing sprint car race at Lucas Oil because from what I've heard, that's a pretty rare occurrence over there.
Yeah, it's a great facility over there. There's and the PA system at Lucas Oil Speedway is on par with Knoxville and a couple of other places. We can actually hear you at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Hey, listen, they've got a Bose system at Lucas Oil Speedway. They've got Bose systems all around the racetrack, and it is great to be able to hear the voices of the broadcast.
Oh, I mean, it sounds like they just haven't spared any expense at that track. I mean, am I right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's absolutely correct. Great lighting. It's the pits are paved. They've got the facilities in the pit area, unlike a tech barn and a place where you can wash the race cars, and it is pretty awesome.
The entranceway alone lets you know that you're pulling in a major first-class facility. The grounds are all manicured, signs are painted to a T, the bushes are all
trimmed up.
Just from the road, that's from the road. So like you said, you'll know when you're rolling in that it's a different type of, there's money being spent at that
and what
place.
is the population of Wheatland? About 300?
Yeah.
300.
It's out in the country, but, the town is not very big.
Yeah, I've never been there, so I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard a lot of good things. I've obviously watched a lot of races. I've watched a lot of those Jesse Hockett Memorial ones with the non-wing and the sprint cars, 360s racing there. And, super, super excited to get over there. I heard that the whole facility's fantastic. And even after they had that tornado or something that came through there and tore a bunch of stuff down, they were able to get it fixed up and still make it first class.
Yeah, they had to cancel the Show Me 100 one year because that was 2019. It destroyed the road. Off-road facility.
Kirk, you and I, we drove home in that tornado, didn't we?
Well, that was before that. We're talking the tornado.
What year was that?
That was like 2007 or something like that.
2007. I drove my motorhome through a tornado.
Well, we sat in your motorhome through a tornado in the pit area that day. That's what I don't forget. And then after that, we all hightailed it out of there because of that bad storm, and then we almost got another tornado, me following you up around Clinton, Missouri.
And the motorhome was blowing all over the place,
I'm glad
wasn't
we
it?
made it back alive.
Yep, right.
So, but I don't think there's any bad weather predicted this weekend, Chase. So
was
I
that
don't think you have to worry
2007,
about that.
Kirk?
Yeah, that was before they moved. That was the Diamond Nationals before they moved the Show Me 100 there from West Plains. So yeah, it's been that long ago. Time flies when you get old, man.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that too. I'm not up there with you guys, obviously, but I'm almost 30, man. It's going by quick.
It goes by quick.
Hey, man, you're almost 30.
That just made me.
We've doubled your count there.
Even
Chase,
even I feel old talking to Chase now. Like you did not have to say that, man. Like I'm telling you, as a 55-year-old guy sitting here, when you just said I'm almost 30, that just made me swallow. Really
Hey, when I was almost 30, I was winning a lot of races back in the day.
Yeah. I was doing some bad things at almost.
Hey, at Lucas Oil Speedway, one of the things I'll be interested in this weekend.
What were
Chase,
you doing, Todd?
Yeah. One of the things I'll be interested in this weekend, Chase, they brought in new dirt in the off season, and it worked out spectacularly well for the Show Me 100. They got it worked in, and the racing was really good. I'll be interested to see. Especially if you get a big field of sprint cars on that racetrack, how that track's going to hold off. But the early reports, at least when they had the late models on it over Memorial Day weekend, it didn't take rubber the whole weekend. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We're going to see a great racetrack this weekend down there with that new dirt.
Yeah, that's good. Because like I said, I've watched that Hockett race, the last couple of years, and I know they get a ton of cars. I think it's over. I might be a little bit low on this number, over 50 in both divisions, and it always seems to take rubber at some point throughout the night. But, when you get that many cars with with big tires on them and things like that, making that many laps, it's not a surprise to see it take rubber. So that was one thing I was a little bit worried about going into this weekend. I didn't know they put new dirt on it, though. So, and we're not going to have, 200 cars there. We're going to have a decent field of high-limit sprint cars, probably in the mid-30s, maybe get to that 40 mark, but I'm going to say mid-30s. So I don't think we need to be worried about that, but that new dirt is something we'll definitely keep an eye on and see how it works in throughout the night over there. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but as far as 410 wing cars at Lucas Oil goes, I haven't done any research on it, but I can't remember any major series going there here recently that has ran there with 410s under the hood with wings on top.
One guy that I'll bet wished he was back in a sprint car this weekend after the weekend he had at New Hampshire is C. Bell. I think he won a 410 sprint car race here a couple of years ago there. I'll bet he's secretly thinking, I wished I was there this week running a sprint car, but I don't think he's coming. He's not running any sprint car races right now.
I think that one of his last 410 wins was actually at Lake Ozark.
That's right.
And with the All-Stars, I'm pretty sure. So that would have been cool to see him there, but I doubt it.
No.
If he shows up, that's going to be quite the surprise.
Yeah, it's going to pay $25,000 on Saturday night. Talk about that. That's a pretty good sized purse, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know if we talked about this last time I was on the podcast with you guys, but I mean, the next couple of races for High Limit all pay very, very well. This week at Lake Ozark is $20,000 a win. Obviously, a prelim night at Lucas Oil, that one's going to pay either 10 or 12, so not some crazy winner share on Friday. But then, like you said, $25,000 at Lucas Oil. Then we take about 2 weeks off, $25,000 at Portsmouth, $100,000 at Eldora, and then $25,000 at Lernerville, $25,000 at Tulare, $20,000 at Hanford. I mean, dude, the next couple of races all pay very, very good for the high limit drivers. It almost seems like almost every race is like a high paying race now.
And when we think about high-paying winners, the first guy that comes to my mind right now is Corey Day after what he accomplished out at Skagit Speedway this weekend, $76,500. He's got to be licking his chops to get back to the high-limit racing right now.
Yeah, especially looking forward to getting back, I'm sure, to the Midweek Money Series, which is where he's really excelled so far this year with High Limit. 3 wins in the Midweek Series or 2 wins. Both of them being $20,000 a win on track. Like, I feel like Lake Ozark is a track that's right up his alley for sure. He's got a lot of momentum on his side, obviously, with that big win at the Dirt Cup. As you mentioned, $76,500. And, for a moment there, for one day, he was at the top of the earnings list for all drivers in the entire country. He had the most money earned. An 18-year-old kid had the most money until Tyler Courtney won last night at Terre Haute and passed him back up. So now it's Courtney, Day, and I think Sweet are the top 3 in earnings right now. So Corey Day and Tyler Courtney, I feel like they might be the 2 guys to watch for coming into Wednesday, man. They've been extremely good. I think Sunshine's on a win streak of 3 or 4 right now. Obviously, Corey, big win at Skagit. So those may be the 2 guys to watch out for coming into this week.
Yeah, Courtney is starting to get it together right now after that preliminary win at Huset's the other night, and then traveling back after the flood at Huset's to his home area of Indiana. And I didn't realize that's the first time he'd ever won at Hobstadt in any kind of a race car.
Yeah, he wasn't ever really that good there without the wing on when he was running USAC a lot. He could not really figure that place out in USAC, and then he'd been very close with the Outlaws a couple of times when they went to Hobstadt. I remember him leading a bunch of laps one time and getting passed late in the race by Sheldon or something. And he'd always start up front there with the Outlaws, but could never hold on to win. So, yeah, that is shocking. I didn't realize that was his first win ever there as well until it happened. And, man, did he basically – I mean, I wouldn't say he dominated that race because Emerson Axum, who impressed me a lot this week, was pretty close to him there at the finish. But still, great week, great couple of weeks for Tyler Courtney. He's definitely showing that he's one of the top 3 guys in the country right now.
Do you feel like Tyler Courtney can put a string of races together and kind of catch Brad Sweet? I know he's 76 points back, and Brad Sweet has 6 wins. Tyler Courtney has 3 wins. But do you feel like that Tyler Courtney can string some races together?
I think he can, for sure. I think he could do it in this next stretch when we head through Missouri, head through Ohio, and then go to Lernerville as well. I think those tracks, definitely he could close in on Brad. But the problem for him is right after that we go to California, where he does not have very much experience in a wing sprint car. Going to Tulare, going to Hanford, going to Placerville, Chico, and then to Oregon, and he's pretty good at Skagit. But, all those other tracks, he's either never been to before or he's never ran there in a wing 410. And obviously Brad's from that area, grew up racing in a lot of the tracks. That's where I think that he could get himself in trouble, especially knowing that when we go to California, I would say almost every single race in California is going to have over 40 cars showing up, at least 35 cars. And so it's going to be tough fields, man. I mean, the California guys are tough. And if Sunshine can't figure those tracks out quick, then Brad's going to pull away in a hurry.
Talking about earnings, Corey Day and Tyler Courtney lead sprint car racing, and those are the two guys that we've seen the last few nights here in this high limit racing. And Corey Day, 2 races alone, we talked about this last hour, $76,500 for winning the Dirt Cup at Skagit, $20,000 for winning the midweek high limit race at Lake Ozark Speedway. That's $96,000. That's approaching $100,000 just for 2 races. That alone, he wins some pretty good money up at Knoxville the week before that, and they've got $25,000 on the line tonight at Lucas Oil Speedway.
$25,000.
Yeah, Courtney, he leaves Houston Speedway after winning that preliminary night up there at the Houston's Hustle, goes to Indiana and picks up that win at Hobstadt, and then the next night at Terre Haute, and then comes out here in the high limit and then picks up another victory last night at Lucas Oil Speedway. Sunshine is coming on right now, isn't he?
Right, he is. He's coming on. Tyler Courtney, Sunshine is a remarkable driver, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's a great race car driver, and he came from the USAC ranks, drove a lot of non-wing stuff for years, adapted very well to the winged sprint cars, won a King's Royal a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago. So Tyler Courtney is already an accomplished wing sprint car racer, and very great personality in racing. Connor Wade is the pit reporter for the World of Outlaws. We haven't seen his work now since a week ago Wednesday, the opening night up at Houston's. Last night they got rained out at Cedar Lake Speedway. Hope to see him action tonight up in Wisconsin. But Connor Wade joins us, as he does most every week on Mostly Motorsports. And here is the conversation we had with Connor Wade. Probably the happiest guy the whole weekend has to be Sunshine, Tyler Courtney, who won the one night you did get in, and then he and his team traveled back to Indiana and won 2 more races with the Maverick Sprint Car Series in IRA, Saturday night at Hobstadt, where he'd never won before, and then last night at Terre Haute. So he's probably the one guy who's the happiest of anybody this weekend, right?
Yeah, he had a good weekend, and I mean, hey, obviously the 6-figure paying races rained out, but I mean, he won. What the prelims pay at Houston? It's $20,000, I think. $20,000. He won on a Wednesday night, so I mean, I think that's still pretty good. It was a good race, honestly, Wednesday, and it was actually the first time I'd ever seen winged sprint cars at Houston, and I was really impressed with it. I really hate what happened to Sheldon. I hate that wasn't his fault. I don't know. Sunshine was pretty fast. Might have still beat Sheldon there, even if Sheldon doesn't blow the tire. But Tim's was good. It was cool to see him back on the podium with the Outlaws, and yeah, Tyler, who told me earlier in the night that he didn't really feel like he was that good at Houston. It ended up being all right, and continued what's been a really, really good 2024 for him. And yeah, I watched. I didn't watch Hobstadt Saturday night, but I watched that race at Terre Haute last night, and he made a pretty ballsy move for the lead, going 3-1 on I think it was Gas and Wyndham. So, yeah, a good weekend for the 7BC.
Sheldon was really poised to have a great weekend, was he not?
Yeah, he was. I think Sheldon probably would have won one of the big races had the weekend continued. He's just really, really good right now. They're fast. They got a new motor. They actually had been winning a lot of races on the old motor, but the motor they brought to Houston was brand new, and man, it ran good. I mean, they were quickest in qualifying, and really, really fast early on in the feature too. And really unfortunate that they had something that was completely out of their control, completely out of Sheldon's control. We think we're about 80% sure that he hit some debris that was left off the Persley car whenever Persley flipped. So. Just something out of his control, and I hate it for him, but they're really, really good right now, and I mean it's the right time to be good. We've got the Kings Royal coming up. Knoxville is really not too far away, and Sheldon was pretty good on night 1 at Knoxville before he had some motor issues and had some more motor issues and was really sick the second night. So Yeah, a lot of positive signs right now for Team 17. And like I said on the broadcast, Sheldon's he's driving the smartest races that I think I've ever seen him drive.
Emerson Axum, he put a little pressure on Tyler Courtney, didn't he?
That was in the
Ryan
Indiana
Timms
race.
did.
Yeah, Ryan Timms.
Yeah, right.
Who had won the weekly show up there a few nights before that, right?
Yeah, he did. Timms is really good at Houston. That's one of his playgrounds. He's ran there quite a bit the last couple of years. He's won a lot of races and just knows it really well, and it suits his style. Tight quarter mile, kind of similar to what he grew up racing on in micros and midgets. So, yeah, it was really cool to see him back on the podium with the Outlaws. I think he was on the podium 2 years ago. I think maybe it was 21. I think it was 2022. So, yeah, he's definitely got an Outlaw win coming in the future, and it was good to see him run and compete and battle for a win with the best of the best.
You mentioned Axum. He challenged Sunshine out in Indiana. I think out at Hobstadt and a couple of other, and Axum won a race out there. Hey, we didn't have you on last week talk about Knoxville. What a spectacular weekend at Knoxville the week before that. The car count was amazing, 64 the first night, 61 the second night.
Grandstands packed.
I mean, it was a great World of Outlaw weekend at Knoxville the week before.
It was, highest car count of the season for us, and then honestly may have been the highest car count in all of Queen Sprint Car racing this season. So I love Knoxville. It was really cool, I think, to get a weekend there before the Nationals, just as whenever you get to the Nationals, it's so packed, and it's such a special week, and such high stakes, and the atmosphere is great, but there's a lot of intensity that comes along with it. And Knoxville, the 2-day show there in June, the atmosphere was a little bit more laid back, and I actually really liked that and really enjoyed it. So, the people in Knoxville are great. Everybody from management to track prep that talked to us was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fans that weekend. So I looked over every night. The suites were packed, the Hall of Fame was packed, and the front stretch grandstands had a ton of people too. Had a lot of NASCAR people in the house, not only a couple NASCAR names in the pit area like Larson and his crew chief coming to hang out, but a lot of NASCAR employees and NASCAR workers, and I think that's cool because it's people that put on NASCAR events and put on NASCAR broadcasts and stuff like that, and they're coming to Outlaw races, to see how we do things and see what they can learn from us. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, overall a great weekend at Knoxville, and we had some great racing along with it.
Yeah, the only bad part about it for me, and I was the only one that didn't get the memo, I'm coming from Iowa Speedway down Highway 14, and all of a sudden it's closed, and so I had to go down some gravel roads to get there, and got there a little bit late on Saturday. That's the only damper, but that was just me who didn't get the memo.
Yeah, I heard about that there were some people that, I guess it turned about a 30-minute drive into a 50-minute drive or something like that. But, oh, well, you still made it.
Still made it down there in time, that's for sure. That's why I didn't get to see you, because I never got to the infield until after the races. And, by the way, it was pretty spectacular that Mother Nature even cooperated, because I was able to get down the infield, talk to the winner, Corey Day, and just as I got to my car, that's when it started raining. So I couldn't have timed that out any better, Connor.
Yeah, it was some wild stuff. We all got out of the infield as quick as we could. The haulers were playing musical chairs trying to get out, and we all hurried up and started tearing down our broadcasting equipment as quick as we could, and got most of it done before it started raining really hard. So it was definitely we had some pretty gnarly stuff coming our way. So I don't know. It feels like every time we go to Iowa, there's a tornado like there was in April, or a strong storm or something.
Your thoughts about Corey Day, who won up there, held off Donnie Schatz and Kyle Larson, and then he backed that up here the other night at Skagit Speedway.
Yeah, I love Corey Day. I've said it for a long time that he's going to be one of the best, and it's been really cool because I've watched Corey since he was in micros, and since probably 2018, 2019, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit before that. And, even as Corey graduated micros and he went and won an Indiana Midget Week race, and he won, a couple sprint car races out on the West Coast, I I feel like forever I was saying he's the next big thing. You know, he's got a great future. He's coming, you know, stuff like that. And now it's just really cool because it's finally, you know, it's not so much the future anymore. I mean, he's still got a great future, and he's probably still far off from hitting his prime. But, you know, he's the future's now. You know, what he's doing in the present is really, really impressive. And he's finally getting to that point where he's not just an up-and-comer. He is truly one of the best, and he's a contender to win big races and everywhere he shows up. So I thought it's great that he won Skagit. I know he went out there because he wanted to become the first father-son duo along with his dad Ronnie to win the Gold Cup, and he did that and did it in a really badass way too. So I love Corey. I wish he was full-time with the Outlaws. I think one day he will be. And, you know, we'll see him at the Kings Royal and the Knoxville Nationals still, and I would love to see him, you know, win those races too. So he's got a lot of talent. He's one of the best right now, and he's going to be one of the best for a long time. And like I said, he's not even hit his prime yet.
I'm hearing that Hendrick has a contract signed with him. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that. I don't have any knowledge of that.
Yeah, I'm being told that he's already signed a contract with Rick Hendrick.
You got good sources too, right?
I've got good sources on that one.
We'll see what happens
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
front. Hey, Cedar Lake Speedway this weekend. You heading back up to Wisconsin. Your thoughts about this weekend?
Yeah, you know, I love Cedar Lake. It's actually another place that I've never seen a sprint car race at. I did the USA Nationals there, which is one of the biggest late model races of the year, probably the second biggest race on the Outlaw schedule. And I loved every second of it. It was great from the fans and the atmosphere to the party in the barn after the race. It's just a good time and just a beautiful area, too. I mean, the weather's nice, and you have the heat of summer, but there's also a bunch of lakes and rivers nearby. And, you know, you catch a little bit of a breeze off of that cools it off a little bit. So just a beautiful area, beautiful scenery, beautiful weather, and a nice racetrack, too. So, you know, I expect it to put on good racing like it always does with the Outlaws, and you know, it should be a fun weekend.
Hey, David Gravel has a 56-point lead over Donnie Schatz. Carson Macedo is 76 points back, and Gio is 86 points back. I think those are the only guys that are really in this championship run. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah, probably so. You know, those are the four guys that have been consistent all year. David's obviously won more races than anybody. You know, Donnie, Macedo, and Gio all have 2 wins apiece. So, you know, we'll see, you know, which of them starts to, you know, win some more races because those are all guys that are capable of winning 7 or 8 races a year. So Gravel extended his point lead quite a bit at Knoxville, and, you know, he's had big point leads a couple times throughout the season and then had things go wrong and lose the point lead, or at least hasn't lost it yet, but has lost a good chunk of it. So it's back to a pretty sizable gap right now over Donnie, who's just really, really consistent. And Donnie tells me every night, you know, he's driving to win a championship, and if he doesn't win every night, but he can, you know, run second or third and keep his nose clean whenever other guys are, you know, wrecking, and he can just stay consistent, and then he's happy with that because Donnie wants another championship, and he kind of knows how to win championships. I mean, he's only won 10 of them, so
right.
You know, he's going to be good. And Gio and Carson are fast every night as well. So it'll be a fun championship battle all year, I think, and you know, we'll see how it plays out.
There you have it. Connor Wade joining us here on Mostly Motorsports, and joining us now is a guy that picked up the victory at
Batesville.
Driving the 55B car. Jordan Mallett joins us now. Jordan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Scott?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Man, was that your second victory with the ASCS?
It was.
So go back and run us through it, because you outran some pretty good cars there. You outran Sam Haferteef, Matt Covington, Hank Davis. Hank Davis has been on fire here as of lately. And, man, you outrun some really good cars there, didn't you?
Yeah, we just had a how to get a race car seemed like all night, and the guys just kept getting me a better race car all through the night, and we were just able to capitalize there towards the end of the feature. It didn't have to be that dramatic as far as I was concerned. On a last lap pass for the win, I would have been just fine passing with 5 to go and just cruising to the victory. But, it's fun when it makes it a race for the fans, and just glad we were able to capitalize.
Tell me how you got the seat to fill in for Brandon Anderson. How'd that all come about?
Man, I'm just fortunate to have the opportunity to. They called me up when Brandon was after Brandon was injured, and while he was recovering, they were looking for somebody to fill the seat to kind of keep him in owner's points. And I got the phone call and talked to Brandon, and then talked to Kyle. And like I said, I'm just fortunate to have the opportunity that they would call on me to fill that seat and try to represent them well.
Do you miss driving your own car?
I do, but I'm just, like I said, it's a different change of pace for me to be able to just get in someone else's car and have people and resources and, just help me and help them on the flip side to be able to keep them in the points. So, yes, I definitely love driving my own car and represent my own sponsors, but my sponsors have always been behind me from day one and pushed me to take opportunities like this when they come up. So, I do miss my own stuff. We ended on a high note winning a race before my car got put on jack stands there in the shop. But, like I said, I'm enjoying every moment of this opportunity as well.
And you've got such a great support staff. Your wife is unbelievable. She's just always by your side, isn't she?
Yeah. She's been to all these with me so far, and my new little daughter's been with us to all of them so far too. And then I've been fortunate that Dad and Mom have been able to swing to a few of these races and come hang out with us and watch us in someone else's equipment. And it's just, like I said, I've just got a really good group of people around us, and it's been a fun ride so far.
Jordan Mallett joining us live here on a Saturday morning after his big victory last Saturday night out at Batesville Motor Speedway. Sam had a pretty sizable lead, looked like he was running away with it. How did you chase him down and pass him?
Oh, honestly, I just spent all the race. When you're in second, you get the opportunity to kind of search around and look, and I was just picking the racetrack apart all the. I didn't know that me and Sam had a breakaway there early on until after the race that we had 5 seconds on third place until that restart, and I thought we were just doing a good job of maintaining. And then after that restart, really he pulled away to his best advantage. After I had passed him on that restart, he found another gear, and I just kept searching and knew that if I didn't lose too much to him, that the opportunity might present itself. And about 3 to go, I just started finding a way that I could probably gain on him, and it just seemed to happen really quick there on the last lap and a half, where I went from 5 or 8 car lengths back to on his tail tank, and then it was just a matter of I had one shot and make sure that shot stuck.
Hey, you had to be really surprised that you ran down Sam there at the end of that race on the last lap. Were you really surprised by that?
I was somewhat. I wasn't necessarily surprised. I knew that all the guys had given me just a really good race car that just seemed to get better and better, and I knew that if I could get to him that we could capitalize. And honestly, Scott, it's just a matter of if there was somebody I was going to have to pass to win a race, it would be him. He's the best. He's been hands down the best in 360s for the last 6 years or something. So
right.
To be able to drive past him to win the deal, and just for the whole team and everything, that was awesome. Like I said, I'm not one who likes to inherit wins or anything like that. I like to earn them, and to be able to drive past him to do so was pretty rewarding.
Yeah, the big question is, how surprised was Sam? That's the big question, right?
Yeah, I have no idea. And I didn't in the seat. You never know how drastic it is till you go back and watch a replay. And man, when we went by him, we just went by him with a full head of steam. In the seat, you're thinking, well, I'm just right there. They're right there fixing to pass me back. And when we went by him and watched the replay, I was just like, man, that was a dramatic. We were gone. It was a done deal once we drove by him, and that was, like I said, it was just rewarding for the whole team and everybody involved here.
Batesville is a fairly big racetrack. Is that a momentum racetrack?
It can be. It's very much a momentum racetrack early on. There towards the end of that feature, I think that's where it started. We were able to capitalize a little bit better. We could just move around, and the racetrack had kind of slowed down and gotten a little bit more technical, and we were just it kind of changed from momentum to just pick your right line, and we found the right one there towards the end.
Last night, not so good. Qualifying? What happened there at Tulsa?
Yeah, we were just kind of disappointed last night. The guys have been working hard, and I've been working hard, and last night, the first night, it seemed like we've been off from the drop of the hat. I think we qualified like 7th in our group, which we've not qualified outside of the top 2 or top 3 this whole time with them. And then just the heat race, this place was just not very conductive for passing, and so we got ourselves in a hole from qualifying and chased ourselves out of that hole the whole rest of the night, and just started at the tail of the feature and just couldn't go anywhere. Sam and them, when they lapped us, Sam and Covington lapped us, and we were good enough at that point that we drove back around Matt and everything, and so we were in the hunt if we could have just started up there, which was really even more frustrating to know we had a good enough race car to have done it. It was just a matter of track position, and like I said, we just got behind in qualifying, and hopefully it'll happen again tonight.
You're currently 6th in points, driving the 55B car. You've got 1 win, you've got 3 top 5s, you've got 7 top 10s. You've got to be pretty satisfied with your success this year.
Yes, I have, and it's crazy to think, that we're sitting as well as we are in driver's points, even though we skipped a race there at Meeker in my own equipment, and so it just goes to a testament. Like I said, they've given me good equipment and the resources we need to not only win races, but just be consistent, and I feel like that I bring value as a driver to, I know how to run for points, I know how to win races, and just be consistent. So I think that it's all working together in everybody's favor, and it's just a matter of us continuously to refine what we're doing. And like I said, I think Bates Hill was a night we were able to showcase that we're starting to hit a stride, and just like I said, last night at Tulsa was not our best night, but hey, it's part of racing. It's a humbling sport, and you got to be able to win with dignity and lose with dignity, and I like to call it a short-term memory sport. You got to forget about last night and move on to the next.
Right.
How long is Brandon going to be out of the race car? When's he due back?
I do not know for sure. He has upgraded now to a short cast, so I don't know when his next follow-up appointment is. I think his next follow-up appointment is in the next week or two to kind of see what that is. Originally he was shooting to be back towards the Lakeside 81 deal, but we're still kind of waiting on what the doctors are.
So Jordan, let me ask you this. I know that we used to sell T-shirts for you back in the day, and I miss traveling up and down the road, and I miss hanging out with a lot of the great people that run with the ASCS. But my question is to you, what do you think about the World Racing Group buying ASCS? Did you think that's a good thing?
I think now it's going in the right direction, but I think they've ahead of them. I'm still kind of in the watching phase, if you'd say it respectfully, right, like that. I've got some opinions both different ways, but I definitely think that I think they're starting to get a grasp on what they really bit off, and I think that they're working at it in the right directions. I think that there's plenty of things that need to be, continued to tighten up and stuff, but they're working at it hard, and I don't knock anybody that's working at stuff hard. And like I said, I see it from both sides of the spectrum. I guess time will tell, but I'm hoping them the best, because I want 360s to survive and thrive. That's how I've made a living, and I know a lot of other guys have made a living driving 360s. So I was excited to see it turned over to somebody like WRG, because they've kept the 410 deal what it is now, for so many years. So I really do hold a lot of hope, but a lot of expectation to them as well.
Do you have any plans to run a 410 in any recent coming up?
I would love to, honestly, Scott. all of my stuff is rigged up for 360s. I don't own any 410s. I would love the opportunity to run some 410 stuff and just kind of get my feet wet in it. But to wholesale flip over from 360s to 410s, I don't see that in my immediate future. I just see myself starting to. I'd like to venture in to get my feet wet a little bit and seeing if we could be competitive in those before we full-fledged decide one way or another.
You're back on the Tulsa Speedway track tonight. What kind of changes do you make to your race car to run better tonight?
I don't know yet what we got. I've been studying on it. Bobby's been studying on it. Kyle, Brandon, Chris. We've all just been really working at our whole package. And I think we're struggling a little bit on small tracks, especially small tracks where you don't have any wing speed. And it was just kind of slick and polished off last night. And so we've got a few things we'll probably try for tonight and see if we can't get us better early on. And like I said, we weren't bad. We weren't bad on the feature last night, but we weren't good either. So we're just we've got a few things we'll try with the car to see if we can't refine and just try to get ourselves in a little bit better position early on.
Well, it's just so hard to pass. You're starting so far back.
Exactly, and this place is it doesn't matter. It seems like if you're talking about passing in a heat race or if you're talking about passing in a B main or a A, it's hard to pass, and you got to have a race car that can move around because this place is so narrow and just one groove dominant. So just hopefully tonight we can get ourselves in a little better spot after qualifying and kind of go from there.
Series is off for the next couple of weeks. What do you do after tonight? Where you go? What are you doing next weekend?
We'll probably take the holiday weekend off for a change, and then after that I'll be back in my own equipment for a few races during this time off, and then just kind of, like I said, see how Brandon is healing and all that, and then I'll just kind of race in the meantime until we know something about if we're going to go to the next ones or if I'll just be back in my equipment. So
right. Jordan, we can't thank you enough for being a part of the show today. And listen, you are a really talented driver, and I've always pulled for you, just so you know.
Well, I appreciate it, Scott. That means a lot.
All right, bud.
Congratulations on the big win last week.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Jordan. We appreciate you.
There was one. Yeah, I appreciate you, Jordan. Great job. There was one guy who did pass some cars last night down at Tulsa, and that was Blake Hahn. Started 16th and ended up 6th last night. So good run by him. But still, it was hard to pass down there.
That was a good run for Blake Hahn as well. And he ended up running 6th after starting 16th.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So you thought maybe he might be at Lucas Oil Speedway over the weekend. They decided to stay close to home.
Yep, they
this
did.
Weekend. So that makes sense. So
I don't blame him. I don't blame him for doing that.
Yeah, because the Power Eye
save the money.
The Power Eye 410 is a co-sanctioned event with some of these high limit racing series. And you ask, well, don't they have to show up? No, they don't have to show up and still get show up points. The
right.
Power Eye 410 racers do not have to show up at these high limit races, and they can still earn the show up points.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Blake Hahn wasn't at Lake Ozark or Lucas Oil Speedway this week.
Do you find that strange?
Well, I would think you'd probably need to show up at the races to get show up points.
I would think so, yeah.
Now, next weekend, they're going to be at Lake Ozark Speedway is that 2 nights down there for the Power Eye 410 sprint cars at Lake Ozark Speedway next weekend. So, thinking about heading down there for that?
Right. I'm thinking about heading down to Lucas Oil Speedway tonight.
Yep.
To be honest with you, it's raining outside. So I'm not sure I'm going to go down there or not.
Well, we'll see what the weatherman does. The thing about Lucas Oil Speedway, the facility is such that if it's not raining at the time, they can get the show in because the pits are all paved and the parking lots are such that as long as it's not raining at the time and the track's in pretty decent shape, they can still get the show in tonight. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the weather does cooperate for tonight's event down there, and they get a big crowd at Lucas Oil Speedway.
All right, thanks everybody for. Todd, you want to add?
I was just going to say thanks, Kelly, for the kind words. He said he was a little late to the show, but it's the best. He says still made it to the best show on the internet. So appreciate the kind words out there, and we appreciate everybody.
Yes, sir.
Subscribing, liking, and sharing this broadcast.
And if you're not able to hear it live, you can always go back on racingboys.com. We've got it archived up there. It's on Facebook. You can go back and listen to it. If you can't hear it live, it's always there. You can listen to it whenever you got time.
If you want to go back and listen to that Parker Price Miller interview along with the other ones, that Mostly Motorsports, anywhere you get your podcast, check it out. It's there, ready to roll. And then that interview we just had with Jordan Mallett, that was an extra bonus interview for you guys there on Track Talk. So it was a good end of the show interview.
That's kind of the way it is right now. You don't have to watch these shows live anymore. If you're not able
wherever
to,
you want.
You can go back. Really, the only thing we watch live is the live sporting events,
Absolutely.
right? Like the live racing
sport.
or the live sporting event. Everything else is on demand, and you can go back and watch it or hear it anytime you want.
Absolutely.
Kelly, we really appreciate the kind words that you said out there.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right.
We appreciate all our listeners.
Every one of them.
Good fans.
Right.
Out there.
We've got great fans. And listen, you want to add something, Kurt?
We'll be here Monday, 12 noon, as always, talking about what's going on tonight. And tomorrow, we'll be here. Connor Wade, Chase Rodman will be joining us as well, and we're going to book a driver or two. We don't know who yet.
We're not sure who yet.
Depends on what happens tonight, right?
Right.
Episode 318,
I've
Monday
been
morning.
working on Tyler Courtney for a while now, so hopefully maybe you can talk to him tonight, see if we get him on Monday's show.
Maybe I can get him lined up.
I've also tried I've also tried to get Corey Day on the last several weeks.
He snubbed
and I'm
you.
still working on him, too. I'm going to get these guys on before it's all over, both of them.
All right. Hopefully I'll try to get Corey Day on Monday's show as well.
Some of these guys are a little harder to get than others.
They are.
But we're working on it.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We want to thank Parker Price Miller, Connor Wade, and Chase Rodman as well for taking the time to join us here on the show. For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
We always argue, baby, never to the end. And when it's over, you always win. Now I'm sitting and thinking, and I'm worrying. I got the nerve, so baby, where you been? I love you, Leah, but you let me go. Don't need nothing but this here rock and roll. I'm gonna rock right now. Right now.